Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Five Lug Racing. With you as always, my name is Don, my co-host Ryan, our other partner in crime down here, Kevin's hanging out with us from the KK's Diecast community, our incredible, wonderful sponsor. So glad to have you here with us. Man, we got Bristol in the rearview mirror. There is a ton to talk about there. But first, of course, we want to hear from Kevin and what's going on in the Diecast community. Kevin, how you doing, bud?
Going well. This week, we've got not one, but two, but three winners. All three winners will be represented in our diecast of the week.
Nice.
Lane Riggs, autographed, number 38, Infinity truck. We got Almirola, who won the Xfinity race. We got his number 10 Smithfield, the breast cancer car. And that is elite. So that one is nice as well. Got the pink window net along with it as well.
Oh,
And
nice.
then our cup winner. And it is an ARC, but it is a really nice number 20 Yahoo purple. So that one is a choice as well. So those three choices, winners' choice of Bristol winners. So this week. So
That is absolutely awesome. And for those that aren't familiar, we have a Diecast of the Week promotion going on with Kevin here, and that's going to be on his Facebook page. We will leave a link in our description to his Facebook page so you guys can go out there and check it out. Throw some bids out there, go win you a Diecast. Go check out all the other stuff he's got going on. Kevin just had a card break right before we were recording this episode. He said he got a lot of cool cards out of that. Go check it out. Ryan, it's so great to see you, bud. I know you've been a little bit under the weather, but you're hanging in tough and doing the episode with us anyway. We appreciate you for that. Man, Bristol was crazy. Let's talk a little bit about what went on this past weekend, and let's preview the Magic Mile coming up.
Yeah, first and foremost, great to see you guys. It absolutely was crazy. And Kevin, you were there, so you're going to give us some firsthand experience. But, one of the things that I noticed that you did this weekend, and I'll segue you into it with this, is that you had meet and greets with people of the diecast community that were going to Bristol. So why don't you talk about that a little bit and how cool it is when you get the chance to get together with people from the racing community that you host. And I know it was so cool when we were at Pocono, Don and I, and got to meet the followers and make new ones, and that's what it's all about, right?
Oh yeah. So we had on Saturday starting out. We had a big, well, not big, but big for me. Had some people over at the campsite, grilled some burgers, had a few beverages, hot dogs, hung out, got to meet some of the members of the group for the first time. So that was a great experience. I love Bristol, and it's great. The great thing about Bristol is, you get to go. You don't only get to see the Cup race, you get to see four races, and I had luckily had the opportunity to sponsor Brayton Laster and the ARCA series on Thursday,
Awesome.
and then sponsor Mr. Logan Bearden and the Xfinity on Friday night. So that was a lot of fun. Got to spend some time in the garage. Met a bunch of drivers. Got some stuff signed. Hung out. Had a good time. It was all in all. It was a great weekend of racing and just kind of fellowship between the community. And I really, really had a great time and enjoyed meeting some of the members of the KK's Diecast community. So
That's
it was awesome.
awesome. As far as you being at Bristol, do you have anything to, any advice as far as anybody that might be going to Bristol in the future? Anything like preparation or get there early for parking type thing, or was it all pretty smooth?
Traffic is not ideal, so make sure
Right?
you do get there early. Luckily, we do camp like right across the street from the track, so we just walk over when it's race time.
Oh,
So
right.
that was great with people coming over and hanging out. So a lot of members came early, on Saturday because the race was Saturday, and hung out with us right across the street until pretty much time to go over and go to the race. So
Awesome.
that was cool. And but yeah, I definitely get there early. Bristol's one of those tracks, you pretty much see from everywhere. It's a short
Yeah.
track there is not you pretty much anywhere you sit, you can see the whole track. So that's luckily that's good. So I mean, as far as seats, I would get about midway would be your best. I mean, you get your best angles on the track, and you know, as far as seeing pit road and everything. So that's probably your best bet there.
Right on.
But there's really not a bad seat at all at Bristol. So.
Yeah. And as far as being there last September, I can attest to that also. I mean, you walk in that place and it's literally like a Coliseum. That's why they call it the last great Coliseum. You can see everything as soon as you walk in up through those stairs, and it just fills up your eyes. Your heart starts beating, and then once the cars get going, it's even more crazy. So
it was our 15th. It's my 15th time going to Bristol, and I get goosebumps every time I walk in that place. Absolutely. So it doesn't matter like how many times. So
absolutely.
Speaking of goosebumps, you know, the action on the track was quite thrilling as well for what we saw this weekend. You know, you mentioned, Kev, we had all four series of the National NASCAR Touring Series, ARCA, Trucks, Cup, and Xfinity, all on track this weekend, which it's electric when that type of event comes together. You know, and Bristol's not far removed from a baseball game, you know, this past summer too. I mean, Bristol's just crushing it right now. They're doing great things down there, putting together awesome events. And it was great to see that there was a lot more fans in the seats for the Bristol night race. And, you know, we talk about the action on the track. I mean, the truck race was absolutely electric. Lane Riggs gets in trouble early, comes back, wins the thing. And then, you know, we fast forward a day later for, you know, the Xfinity guys, which, you know, you had skin in the game, like you said, with Logan Bearden carrying your logo around the track. And Logan's a great guy, great driver. You know, he deserves all the opportunities he gets. And you know, it's so cool to get to for you to be a part of that, but you know, also just to be a part of a NASCAR playoff race, right? Your sponsors in a NASCAR playoff event, and it was the first of their campaign, and you know, it's so crazy when you look at how this race played out for the Xfinity guys, and we had a couple comers goers type of thing, but the way that this race finished on, you know, we have a number of the day or a number of the week for everybody following at home. And what is that magic number, Don?
Listen, we're talking about the 00 car in Sheldon Creed. All right. And for those of y'all that aren't familiar with Sheldon Creed and his Xfinity career, he had 14 second place runner-up finishes heading into Bristol. That number now expands to 15. He now has 15 second place finishes. It was
without a win.
Without a win. I'm sorry. And is really crazy, y'all. Like, clearly Sheldon Creed is capable of driving race cars. You don't fall into second place finishes for no reason. The guy is incredibly talented. That win is on the horizon. It's coming. But you know what? From here on out on the Five Lug Racing Show, we're going to keep that counter going until Sheldon Creed gets that elusive win that he's so hungry for. And now it's at number 15.
Yeah, and number 15 was also a number set by Connor Zilich and his 88 team for 15 top 5 finishes in a row. Incredible. Like 15 is a wild number this weekend. So there you all, if you're watching at home, go put number 15 and the Powerball. Who knows? You're welcome. You could thank Five Lug Racing and send a nice donation our way if you win it. But no, it's you know, just that's just 2 wild statistics in one race that we got, and both of those cars were contenders for the win. Connor Zilich had a dominant piece at points of the race, and I think that he maybe if pit strategy was a little bit different, could have potentially won this race. Now, pit strategy the opposite for the 00, having more tire left than others in the field because of them hitting the cautions right when they did decide to come in for pits. Sheldon had a fast car and good pace in his car all night long. That car won the race last year, and they brought another. It was actually a different car, but they brought another rocket ship down to Bristol, and we're in contention. Started the playoffs below the bubble cut line, and with that second place finish, really set the tone for a good round of 12 for them. We had a new winner, not named Connor Zilich, this past weekend, and it's also a guy who it didn't matter as far as the drivers' championship point standings. It did matter for the owners, but Eric Amarola and the 19 team stay out, did something different. They zigged when everybody zagged, and said they were just going to try to ride it out on the tires they had with the amount of laps they had and play the odds, and it worked in Eric's favor. Savvy vet, able to get the job done. Had he not, I would say, had there been maybe a lap or two more, I think Sheldon Creed may not have gotten to 15 second place finishes. He would have got that 19 car. He was there, folks. It was a wild finish.
And shout out to Sheldon, because Sheldon has always raced super clean. He's always been super respectful of his competitors. He had an opportunity to maybe do the little shove and run, the Bristol style, rattle your cage and get a win out of it. But he kept his fenders clean. He finished out second place. That was big of him. So shout out to Sheldon on that end.
Yeah, not how he wanted to win his first race.
Exactly.
And that's honestly, that's how it should be.
Exactly.
So we look at the playoff standings for the Xfinity guys coming in to a week off. They do not race this weekend in New Hampshire. They'll catch back up with us at Kansas next weekend. But Connor Zilich still has a very strong lead over second place Justin Allgaier, 32-point advantage. Of course, he had a huge buffer with all the playoff points that he's accumulated throughout the regular season.
Right.
Sam Mayer is behind him, plus 35 above the cut, plus 16 above the cut is another JRM car of Carson Kvapil. Had a really quietly good Bristol. Harrison Burton plus 9 above the cut. Brandon Jones plus 8, Sheldon Creed plus 7, Taylor Gray plus 3. The following people have some work to do: Nick Sanchez, Jesse Love, Austin Hill, and Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith had bad luck early. He blew up and just totally grenaded his playoff point situation.
Right.
Put him minus 24. So does that eliminate him? No. With 2 races to get above, obviously misfortune from one of his other fellow competitors could help his situation out, going on a winning race, or just seeing how it all shakes out. But Austin Hill, with all his penalties he had, and not a great Bristol, he's minus 16. So everybody else is really in striking distance. At Sanchez and Love are both minus 3. They're tied at minus 3. So not too big of a pull away there from Taylor Gray to Jesse Love, from 8th to 10th being outside looking in. It was, they're a round of 12. So only 8 will make this next round. So, and then the truck series, we talked about Lane Riggs. Him and Corey Heim have both won the first 2 playoff races. Arguably the best 2 trucks in the field all season long. Right. No disrespect to the other guys, but Heim and Riggs were seemingly duking it out for wins every single weekend.
Right.
As far as the cut line is concerned, the playoff cut line, Jake Garcia, your heart has to break for him. He had a fast truck, potentially could have really flipped the playoffs around, had a little bit of misfortune. He's now minus 14 below the cutoff line. And Chandler Smith, Lane Riggs' teammate, who has had a good year, is 24 below the cut. You got Caden Honeycutt, who had that team change. He's 18 above the cut. Rajah Caruth right behind him, by the way. Rajah's on the bubble. It just really, really exciting playoffs. Now, this weekend is an elimination race in the truck series. That's why I had to come back to that. After New Hampshire's over on Saturday for these fellas, there's going to be 2 drivers eliminated from the playoffs, and then they'll be down to their round of 8. So It'd be interesting to see if Jake Garcia or Chandler Smith can muster up anything, misfortune from any of their fellow competitors. If that changes the standings, folks, what do you think?
It's really the 38, or excuse me, the 34 and the 11. I mean, as far as Lane Riggs and Corey Heim go, I don't know what else to say other than it's going to be those two battling for a championship. I just don't have any reason to believe any other truck is going to make any noise leading up to that race. And as boring as that might be, it's still kind of fun watching two guys duke it out for a championship. And that's kind of what we're getting with the Truck Series.
I'll be absolutely shocked if one of them doesn't win the championship, So,
right.
I mean, it's all year. It's been one or the other. So,
yeah. And realistically, honestly, I mean, Corey Heim has had a stranglehold on this series the entire year.
Yeah.
I think everybody would be shocked if it wasn't him, but Lane Riggs would be a great consolation prize if if it wasn't Heim. But that's the reason why we have to race the races, folks. And obviously, we know those two. We talked about the two strongest trucks. They're already locked into the next round. It's up to really everybody else to see how how things shake out. Daniel Hemrick has to come in with a little bit of a sigh of relief at plus 51. And Ty Majeski, last year's champion, too, at plus 46. If they have a good first stage, they should see themselves potentially pointing themselves into the next round early on in the race. But everybody else, I mean, Grant Enfinger and Tyler Ankrum are both plus 29, tied there for plus 29. Honeycutt plus 18 and plus 14 for Caruth. Like I said, those guys, a little bad luck, and they could be on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be interesting. Going to be fun. But fellas, we had a cup race that took place at Bristol, and we got to talk about that because it was wild and fun. We had tire degradation, like, whoa. It's what I'm not going to call myself a hypocrite. It's what I wanted to see. So I got to see it. And I think it was fun. Now, I think it was a little wild. That first run on the tires for everybody, obviously everybody at 29 laps in plus is like, whoa, hey, red flag. We got a major problem here.
Yep.
Because the tires were on the right side were doing what we were told they were going to do, which was fall off and wear off. But man, did they fall off and wear off. They were down to cords in 30 laps.
I gotta interrupt real quick because this has been eating at me. That was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so not. Look, we can rewind a year ago or even to the spring race where people were just complain. This race was so boring. Well, guess what? This race, there was not a boring.
It was not boring.
Lap.
No.
There was not a boring lap of the 500. Everybody got to see their driver up front for a little bit. Obviously, Ty Gibbs had something figured out for the first, I would say, 66 to 75% of that race, and then the bullet got him. He made a mistake. It cost him a race win. I mean, we were texting in the middle of that race, Ryan, saying, look, Gibbs might actually get this thing done. I mean, Ty Gibbs had the car to beat, and then one mistake, y'all. One mistake is all it takes to cost you a race win at the highest level.
Yeah, it was wild and unfortunate for him, but it was to the benefit of other people,
Yep.
That are in the playoffs. And but yeah, the 54 team absolutely brought a missile to Bristol. It was bad fast, and I said, in that text, Don, since we're talking about it, if he doesn't make a mistake, it's going to be his race to lose.
Yep.
And he made a mistake.
All right, so you Ty Gibbs fans.
Yeah, you could blame me if I put the kibosh on him. Oh well, but it is what it is. It's like if it's going to be a mistake if he loses because
right,
that it looks unbeatable. I mean, even in the tire, like they had the tire wear situation, everybody else had, but his car could go a little bit longer. And now, after that first sequence of pit stops, right, with the tires, some teams figured it out quicker than others because on that first sequence, a lot of cars had backed down their pace.
Right.
Some quicker than others. I believe the lap
Blaney.
time that Blaney is definitely one of them. I believe the lap time that was targeted for everybody was 17.5 seconds.
Correct.
You wanted to be somewhere around a 17.5-second lap time to protect your tires. Now, yes, the cars slowed their pace down to manage their tires, but the racing did not suffer. And
Right.
that was the beautiful part of what took place, because yes, the cars had to ride a little slower to protect protect the equipment, which is the right side tires at this point, but they were dicing it up. And if they needed to pass, or if there was a car up high and he needed to pick up his pace to try to get around, they could do that. But the consequence could be your tires. And that's what racing, in my opinion, is. Now, was it a little extreme? Maybe, but like we said, it wasn't boring, and it definitely was one of those. It had an old school vibe to it, because
Yep.
you had to know when to push the issue and when to not push the issue. There was a situation where Bubba Wallace, for instance, had lost the control of the race. He was running second. He radios in and goes, "Hey," he goes, "Can I have a lap or two?" And he said, "Can I have a corner or two to take control of this race back?" Meaning, can I go all out and take
Yeah.
control of this race back?
What's my
And
ceiling?
and what's going to be the consequence of me doing it? And they told him, "You have one lap. That's it." They told him, go run as hard as you can for one lap. If not, back it down. We'll ride second for a little bit. That's okay, and that's what it ultimately ended up. What happened, but that risk reward, I mean, can totally flip a race for you. And at one point, I think we saw 6 cars on the lead lap.
Oh,
It was
it
it
was
was
There was
it was
3 on the lead lap at one point.
yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, with the pits stop cycling under green, people get their laps back, but when cautions start to fall, it's a problem.
Yep.
And people get pin laps down, and people have to get their laps back, and more strategy factors into it. It's like, well, do we wave? Do we risk, even though we just got tires, do we risk raving and getting run over by these guys, or have our stuff, like, there was so much strategy going on. Obviously, NASCAR introduces an extra set of tires, which they have the capability of doing every weekend if they need. But man, Goodyear was working furious in the garage, mounting and balancing tires like nobody's business, as quick as they could, to get that extra set available for the teams, and it all worked out, right? I say don't change a thing. That's my personal opinion, because I don't want to go back to Bristol Snooze Fest. If I was paying for my ticket, I would pay to show up to see that. It's an ultimate wild card. You don't know what you're going to get, and you don't know what driver is going to ultimately prevail from the madness that is that tire strategy. Now, the teams have a lot more data after this weekend. They know 17.5-second laps. That's our pace. So and they also can play with the setup a little bit more now, knowing what those tires are going to do, so they can minimize more tire fall off than other teams. But that's what makes racing. And then working within those margins of error, the thresholds that they're going to have, that's what we need to see, in my opinion. That's, again, my opinion. Kevin, you were there. What's your take on this?
Man, guys, I'm going to be honest, it was chaos for the first 50 laps. Like, once it hit where the tires were just shot, people were just constantly pit road, just, and I mean, everybody was mixing up. People were dodging each other, going on and off pit road. It was insane. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, we were all kind of just, everybody was in the stands was just kind of looking around at each other like, what is going on, like, right now? Like, what is happening? Like, is this supposed to be happening? Like, everybody was very confused for like the first 100 laps, and then everybody finally settled in and was like, okay, it is what it is, and here we go. Like, this is going to be a long night, it's going to be a wild ride, and that it was a wild night, and it ended up being really fun to watch. So
yeah, and to piggyback on that, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I would rather not know what the heck is going on than be watching the same car lead 480 laps. That's just my opinion. The chaos, I'm here for it. The not knowing what's going to happen 20 laps from now, sign me up. I mean, that was crazy. Absolutely.
Yeah, the unpredictability is huge in
Yeah.
this, right?
I'm not gonna lie though, as a Kyle Busch fan, it is very hard to watch him fighting to stay on the lead lap while the Toyotas are just dominating out front. There's just like literally 5 Toyotas in the top 10, and he's back there just struggling to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah.
It is so disheartening at Bristol at all of all places. So that part hurt, but otherwise it was a great race. I mean,
and on that note, you know, Kyle Busch fans have been going through it. Kevin, I know you root for that 8 car till the very end. And I've been through it with Casey Kane. Ryan, obviously a Casey Kane fan before he retired, and it was the same feeling. It was just, man, it's just so frustrating watching a guy that you rooted for so long go through these struggles. But that's a part of the sport, right? We go through it with football, we go through it with basketball, and we're going through it with racing, where we see our childhood heroes struggling to find decent finishes. And that's just a part of the sport. You know, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I'll do you one better. I was a Bill Elliott fan growing up, and when I was really young, you know, obviously I remember glimpses of him in the 9 car. More so when the 9 car was the blue paint scheme, if you guys remember the blue 9 milling paint scheme, and then he transitioned to the 11 team with Junior Johnson and running the 11 car. But after he was out of that car and he owned his car, and it was the McDonald's era, it was brutal, you know, and like there was few and far things to celebrate. You know, Elliott was running 30th a lot of the time, you know, or in the mid 20s, and it was painful as a fan sometimes. And you're just like, man, like, you know, he would qualify. I still remember like one of the highlights when he owned his own team. He ran the Mac Tonight car at Richmond, and it was the 94 scheme, and he qualified that thing on the pole, and I lost my mind. I'm like, oh my goodness. And it's such a cool looking car. And you know, the race didn't pan out as well as I wanted it to, but it was like I celebrated a pole like it was a win because it had been so long. And then you get him on the back half of his career, and you know, his move to Dodge with Ray Evernham and Evernham Motorsports. And Ray breathed, and Ray was a man of his word and said he put Bill Elliott back in victory lane, and he breathed life and confidence back into him. And I feel like taking that ownership side away from Bill as a driver in that era was huge. Not to have to worry about anything but going out there and driving the race car. And, you know, Bill ended his career on a very high note, winning races again. And his last ever career start, he darn near won. So just short by just a little bit. But, you know, it's, you know, yeah, the highs and lows, the ebbs and flows of sports fandom is a real thing. And, you know, I'm an Eagles fan, so right now I'm riding a high, but man, do I know about the lows, you know, it's, or almost being to that pinnacle and just never getting there, you know, until we finally did. So, you know, I get it, you know, and I understand what you're going through, Kevin, seeing that. And, you know, also you mentioned Toyota, and Kyle Busch came from one to go to that RCR Chevy. And
ironically,
you know, so
the team that swept the first round of the playoffs too.
yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about, because Toyota as a whole has come out just blazing lately. You know, JGR, Joe Gibbs Racing, each driver that's in the playoffs, 3 of their 4 drivers, has won in this round. I mean, they swept this round. I don't think that's ever been done.
No, we've never seen a team sweep around before.
And not only that, but Toyota as a whole, 2311, Bubba Wallace has been absolutely bad fast this entire first 3 races.
Yep.
Tyler Reddick with a ton of speed. Legacy Motorsports John Hunter Nemechek, folks.
Oh, yeah.
If this consistency continues from Legacy Motorsports into 2026, we might have to have a conversation about John Hunter Nemechek getting his first career win very soon, because they're giving him fast race cars and he's taking full advantage of it. And Eric Jones has made his presence known as well. You mentioned at one point 5 Toyotas in the top 10. Toyota only has 9 cars in the field. You know, so more than half of their fleet is in the top 10. That's insane. And hats off to Toyota right now. They're figuring it out. They found speed at the right time. And
and guess what? They're fast at New Hampshire too.
Yeah. We're going to see if that trend continues. I know for a fact Joe Gibbs Racing is going to show up fast at New Hampshire. Would be absolutely shocked if they didn't. You know, so yeah, absolutely insane. Hats off to Christopher Bell. He was my favorite this past week. If anybody was paying attention to the Spotlight Pick'ems, the Pick'em Spotlight, you know, I just spicy Bell, and he got it done. You know, maybe at the 54, kind of taking himself out of that race. Could have, you know, but hey, guess what? He comes from Joe Gibbs Racing. Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole was fast. Christopher Bell was fast. Denny Hamlin had pace. You know, it was one of those things. Now we got to talk about Denny Hamlin because I just mentioned how he had pace, but Denny Hamlin had an issue on track too. Now he was locked into the next round of the postseason by virtue of a win.
Right.
And that's a good thing, you know, because boy, oh boy, we got to talk about it. So he loses a wheel on track, seemingly after running close to what, 40 laps?
Yeah, it was like 30, 40 laps, I guess, before that thing finally came off.
Yeah, so there was contact with, you know, Denny Hamlin in another car. And then shortly after, the wheel comes off. But you said, Don, that you thought you had seen sparks before the contact.
Yeah, so we'll throw a replay up for y'all to check out while we're chatting about this. But if you watch closely, there's one angle, and it's the angle that's behind the cars. And as they're entering the turn and Denny's car loads into the turn, you see a bunch of sparks come out from the right front, maybe a split second, maybe a half second before he makes contact with the car on the outside of him. And we'll slow it down so you guys can see what we're talking about. But you see that shower of sparks, and then Denny makes contact with that car on the outside, ultimately really ending Denny Hamlin's chance at a decent finish.
Yeah, I mean, Kev, where you were sitting from your perspective, what did that look like to you?
I didn't see it real time. I was not looking that direction, so I had to see it up on the big monitor, you know, the. But I mean, to me, I thought it was the contact that made it happen. So
right,
it's interesting to know that you could run that long and that lug nut not be tight. You know, like it's just crazy to me that you could run that many laps. I get it, it's a short track,
yeah,
but it's not a easy short track. You know, I mean, it's tough on you. You know, so the fact that there's a possibility that lug nut could have been loose for that long, and then it finally gave up, and then the contact really just pretty much ripped the tire off at that point.
Right.
It's crazy, but I mean the penalty happened, and
yeah.
I mean they're like you. I mean they're going to be consistent with any loose wheel. So
right.
Whether it was, you know, I mean, for the reason it is undetermined as of now, really.
Right.
It is what it is. I mean, the wheel came off, so
gotta pay the piper.
So
yeah, that's
you'll get two crew members that get their suspension by NASCAR rule book. If a tire comes off on track, 2 crew members get suspended. So that's shout out to NASCAR for keeping the consistency there.
Yeah, they have to, and it's the playoffs. They can't be it needs to be black and white, no gray area here. Right. I think that was the right thing to uphold the penalty. And you know, the only thing I may add is that, with that lug, my thought process is that they got it on there probably kind of cocked on an angle somehow to where it was, almost maybe cross threaded, but not enough to damage the hub, of course, because they were able to put a new wheel and tire on that car
Right.
and send him back on his way and finish the race. But I do know that NASCAR took the wheel that came off of that car, and they took that back because they probably wanted to look at it and see exactly what may have happened, because they too were probably wondering how that thing stayed on that long. But who knows? And they haven't said anything. So
Right.
it's really just, we know that there's a penalty, 2 crew members gone, life goes on for the 11 team. And in the next round here, it was obviously we had some drivers not be able to move on from the postseason. We had some accidents take place where a driver thought he didn't move on. Don, why don't you lead us into that one a little bit?
So I thought it was really interesting. And, we always see drivers dejected after an accident. Their mind is still running a million miles an hour. They just got out of a hot race car. They've got 400 million things going on. They then shove them into the care center after touching, a wall. We know we got safer barriers and all the safety stuff, but they've got so many things going on in their mind. It's really hard to keep track of what's happening with your points situation. So we see Chase Elliott complete his exam there in the med center, and he's coming out for his interview to talk and let everybody know that he's okay. And they ask him, are you going to watch the race? Are you going to keep track of what's going on? He's like, well, our playoffs are over, so there's not much for me to watch. And they go, well, you're still in the playoffs. Are you going to watch? And he was like, what? I guess I am going to watch. So Chase Elliott actually thought he was eliminated from the playoffs at that point, until the analyst that was interviewing him let him know, no, you still got about a 9-point cushion. Go ahead and go and enjoy the rest of this race if you can.
Yeah, the only way he was going to lose the race was if his teammate Alex Bowman won the race.
Correct.
Or Austin Dillon, or at that point in the time, Shane Van Gisbergen's day did not go the way he needed it to, so he was eliminated. And an early first stage 1 caution for Josh Berry. His car catches fire. Bro did not make it out of stage 1 without some sort of damage this entire round of the playoffs. This is not the way we saw him being eliminated, but not a good playoffs for Josh Berry. But you know what? I'm going to call it. I know he's with a legendary team, Wood Brothers Racing, but in all, it's a young team with a new driver, lots of new pieces, lots of positive things to build on for the 21 team for next year.
Right.
They just got to keep grinding and put this behind them, because, Darlington, you could put on the driver a little bit, loses a loose race car on the first lap, but those other 2 incidents, not his fault, and it's unfortunate. How his postseason went, but the drivers that didn't advance was Alex Bowman, Austin Dillon, SVG, and Josh Berry. Kind of the way we thought we'd see it, except we thought maybe Shane would have had enough playoff cushion and can pull off a good finish to advance to the next round. It didn't work that way for him. Again, young team, young driver in the scheme of things. His first full-time Cup season, his first time seeing a lot of these oval tracks. Shane will get better, no doubt about it. I'm looking forward to his 26 campaign.
And it looked like, Kevin, you wanted to add something there, but also with the Shane 88 situation, he's still going to go steal another win. So y'all might as well keep paying attention. He's gonna make it harder for playoff drivers to advance to the round of 8. Y'all keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, what I was gonna say is I felt bad for Barry because he finished dead last in all 3 races.
That's incredible.
That's rough.
I don't even know if there were betting odds for that, and somebody would be a bazillionaire if they had bet on it.
It's never going to happen again. Never.
It's an absurd. It's like an absurd and offensive stat almost. Like, it's like unreal. But yeah, these playoffs just got shaken back up. Re-rack after the race is over. Denny Hamlin back to the top. getting that other additional win in the playoffs certainly helped his situation, because now he's on top of William Byron this round. As far as the points cushion, he's plus 26 to the cut line. Then Byron, then Larson. They're at that deadlock there at plus 24. Christopher Bell gets a win, adds to his playoff points. He's now plus 20. Ryan Blaney right behind him, plus 19. Chase Briscoe, he got a win this round. He bumps up a little bit. He's now plus 10 above the cut. Chase Elliott, plus 5. Bubba Wallace, 1 point above the cut line. Austin Cindric, 1 below. And then Joey Logano, 2 below, tied with Ross Chastain there. And Tyler Reddick, minus 3. Guys, out of the gate at Darlington, we had seen those 2311 cars rise from the ashes, right? Can they do it again? Can they come to New Hampshire and get out from what seems to be that point deficit from the lack of playoff points in the regular season? What do you guys think? We're heading into New Hampshire now. We got a new reset on this playoff standings. Who do you see climbing and rising from the ashes, and who is maybe going to have some bad luck or just not see themselves advance this round?
Hey, Kevin, hey, what do you think, man?
Let's start with you, Kev.
Cindric out.
Okay.
All right.
I think he's done. Honestly, I think Chase Elliott's done. I don't see him advancing. I just don't. The way that team's been running and the luck they've been having, I just don't see it. Next one would probably be.
You think about that for a second. I got to add something about Chase Elliott real quick, Kevin, while you're getting the rest of your list together. Chase Elliott, up until this past weekend, had the best average finish all season long of all full-time drivers.
Really?
And to think that I believe Christopher Bell took over that spot after his win this weekend. But as far as Chase Elliott being on the brink of elimination after being the most consistent finishing car all season long is incredible. But that's a testament to the playoff system. You got to be good all the way through. You can't just limp into the playoffs and expect to make it to the championship four. You got to continue that consistency, and you got to go get wins, y'all.
Wins and playoff points. Those stage points matter in the regular season. They really do. And, Chase didn't get as many stage points as his teammate Byron, even though I think this might have been Chase's second DNF of the season.
Correct.
To add into that consistency thing. That's the biggest reason why he had the best average finish among the field, is because he didn't have the DNF, but it doesn't mean that he capitalized on the stages. And that's the big area, because honestly, Tyler Reddick had an incredible season. He just didn't get a win. He was sitting in, between 5th to 8th most of the year in season standings. But because of those, how the stage points and such work, and the lack of wins, if you add a win to Tyler Reddick, he is above the cut line. And, so it's actually, that's, something to think about as well, because you would actually bump his teammate out if he, and they both had equally had a win. Tyler had the more playoff points and stuff and stage points. It's just strange how it works, but yeah. So Kevin, who's your final cut?
We got Austin Cindric and Chase Elliott so far. Who's your other two?
I think Chastain. Chastain, I feel like is just not getting the finishes, and I think he'll probably go next. And this one is honestly, he is my dark horse pick of the week, but he's definitely a dark horse. I feel like he's going to have to literally get a win to stay in it, or just have a perfect round, and that's Joey. So those two Penske's, Chase and Chastain.
And let's not forget, this is the round that Joey Logano should have been eliminated last year before all that hoopla at the Roval and Alex Bowman happened. So Joey is in familiar territory as far as being very, very close to being eliminated in the second round of the playoffs. round of 12, if you will.
Yeah, and I'll just flat out tell you, looking at the standings right now and who's had the speed and pace and who hasn't, and also you got to factor in the tracks that we're going to.
Right.
I can't argue your take at all, Kevin, and I think for the sake of time, that's where mine lie too. It's there definitely can be somebody having misfortune this round and being a surprise out. I'm not eliminating that possibility, but when you look at the tracks coming up here, they do not favor those drivers you just said.
Right.
And whereas they do some of these others that are closer to the bubble. So I'm right there with you. I support your takes, man. That's where I would have to go with it as well.
Absolutely. I would 100% agree with y'all's list. It's going to be the 1, the 22, the 2, and the 9. I think these tracks are going to favor those other close bubble drivers, including Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace. They're going to find themselves getting some extra points this round and being safe, barring any crazy mechanical frustrations or, accident, whatever. But yeah, absolutely. I think those are the 4 that are really going to be stressing it out the next 3 races. And as far as tracks are concerned, you're talking about the Roval, you're talking about Kansas, and the one we got coming up this weekend is New Hampshire.
Yeah, and so we are going into New Hampshire, and it's time that I start laying some stats down here. We talked earlier in this episode about the Toyotas and bringing the speed. Well, last year, this race was not a playoff race, but it was an interesting one because it rained, and they started to dry the track, got it good enough, and they bring rain tires here because it is a flat track and it doesn't carry an exorbitant amount of speed to where they can't run them. So I expect rain tires this weekend to be sitting in the garage at New Hampshire as well. And it made for quite an interesting race. When you put the rain tires on these cars after the red flag, Christopher Bell was shot out of a cannon and just absolutely ran a torrid pace here. Chase Briscoe, his now teammate in a Haas car last year, also really thrived in those rain tires, as well as Tyler Reddick, who had the lead prior to the race resuming. The 45 car was really fast here last year as well. So it made for quite an interesting one. If it happens to sprinkle here at New Hampshire this weekend, we'll get another tire episode to talk about. Yeah, as far as speed, though, here, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, they all have that pace. But in the last 3 races ran here of active drivers, the best average finish is actually Kyle Larson with a 7th place average finish, 2 top 10s in that span with a top 10 also. John Hunter Nemechek, actually, and I just spoke of him, has an average finish here of 8th. Chase Briscoe 9th. Christopher Bell 10.3. Chase Elliott 10.7. And man, we just talked about Elliott potentially being eliminated. He's going to need one here, folks, if he's going to stay alive. 11th place for Reddick, Hamlin 12.3, Busher 12.3, Brad Kay 13.3. Ross Chastain 13.7. He's another one that's going to need it. And then Bubba Wallace sitting there at 15th. So of the playoff drivers that we just named, Larson, Briscoe, Bell, Elliott, there's a handful in here. But when it comes to Vegas and what they think, Caesar Sportbook, no, we're not sponsored by them, but that's where we're getting these odds from. Plus 260 for Christopher Bell. Hands down favorite, Denny Hamlin at plus 500, Blaney plus 550. Briscoe plus 700, Kyle Larson at plus 850, just to give you an idea where those guys are sitting at. We have a handful of playoff drivers, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace at plus 2,200 as a notable, Tyler Reddick at plus 1,800. Guys, it's going to be wild. It's that time of the episode for our Pick'em Spotlight. Kevin, you're our guest, so we're going to let you go first. You already told us your dark horse is going to be Joey Logano, so let us your favorite, buddy.
Oh, Denny Hamlin's going to be my favorite for this weekend. So
it's a great.
Did you see his when he walked out at Bristol? They do the driver announcements. he just walked out and said, "Him."
Oh yeah.
Him.
And he
just
had the Law and Order music.
walking. Yeah. So,
That was fabulous. What kind of crowd reaction did Denny get at Bristol? Because Denny was very good at
he
Bristol.
got booed so bad.
Okay.
It was so loud. It was so loud, the boos. But
Kevin, why do you think so many people boo Denny Hamlin? What do you think?
Honestly, I don't really know when that switch happened. Like,
Okay.
I guess I have a feeling, I guess the Chastain, when him and Chastain were having their issues, like, I don't know if everybody sided with Chastain and just thought Denny was a crybaby or what, but I feel like that's when it happened because it seems like ever since then, the boos have just gotten worse and worse. And then he had, some issues with Larson too.
I'm sorry. Say your last sentence again, bud.
I said he had some issues with Larson too, and
definitely the Larson stuff. Yes,
I would definitely contribute it to the Hendrick camp creating that villain role as far as the fans go. But I think something some might not take into consideration is when he became a car owner for another team, and if certain fans didn't care for that team, that automatically rolled over into disliking Denny Hamlin as a driver. So there are multiple different things that could have happened. And also maybe Kyle Busch in the Joe Gibbs camp took a lot of that lightning from Denny, where he didn't have to be the bad guy or the villain, right? Kyle Busch had that firmly locked up. So,
yeah, absolutely. It's been wild, but it's been fun to watch. That villain. Everybody needs it, and as far as the sport's concerned, I think it makes it interesting and fun. And honestly, I like the takes now. It's comical.
So I'm picking the two crowd favorites, Danny and Joey.
Yeah, there you go. And we'll add your favorite driver, Kyle Busch, in there for the mix and the trifecta there, and it'll get everybody fired up there for you. When it comes to this track, I named the odds and all that stuff and the stats and but what takes the eye test? And obviously we reset right now. We have less drivers than we did a week ago into this round. So, we have to take from sixth and up for our favorite and seventh and below in the field for as far as points go. When it comes to my dark horse right now, because of the reboot, I get a gimme, and I'm going to take it. Give me the 45 team of Tyler Reddick, a team that absolutely showed a ton of pace here last year. And a driver that is more motivated, I think, than I've ever seen to go get a win, especially with that back against the wall type of feeling with a team and a driver that's more than capable of going to victory lane this year. I still can't believe, we're in the second round of the playoffs now, and we're talking about this man not having a victory, fellas. Yeah. It's hard to believe. So, you're going to have to give me Tyler Reddick this weekend as my dark horse. A guy I feel is more than capable of going to get a lobster this weekend at New Hampshire.
Absolutely. I love both of y'all's dark horses pick. I'm going to go with a little bit of a different route. I'm going to go for a guy also with his back against the wall and somebody that shows tremendous speed at tracks like this. Can also find himself in trouble, but I've got some confidence that he can find something really magical this weekend. Pun intended, magic mile, right? And let's go with the Chevrolet Camaro of Ross Chastain, that one car of Trackhouse. Ross is also watching his teammate get eliminated from the playoffs. So he's a lone wolf as far as Trackhouse goes. Maybe he's got something a little bit more to prove since he's the last man standing there at that specific Chevy camp. So, let's see Ross Chastain as a dark horse lifting a trophy there in New Hampshire.
Oh, man, gotta love that. And I think that it's a track that I feel that Ross Chastain has been wishy-washy at. I mean, he does have 2 top 10s here in the last 3 races. So that's good. That's a positive. But again, Kevin, you had reiterated one of the reasons why you thought he wasn't going to make it to the next round is because they're just not unloading with the speed they need to make it to the next round. And that's that questionable variable. We all know come 2 weeks from now, when we go to the Roval, that the 88 is going to have a lot of pace. But Shane makes pace for himself on a road course, or a street course, and or a Roval, and but can they find it on the oval? They struggled so far in this first round of playoffs, in my opinion. So yeah, hopefully Trackhouse finds something, and that dark horse can come to fruition for him and you, Don.
And for those keeping track, Ross gets to the Roval. Let's not forget, every single one of those Trackhouse full-time drivers got their first career win at a road course. All right, we're talking Ross at Coda in 2022, Shane Van Gisbergen in Chicago in 2023, and Daniel Suarez there at Sonoma in 2022. All these guys are very capable of going out there and winning that race. So let's keep
mark my words, soon to be Connor Zilic in 2026. All right, so I'm just saying it now. Yeah, that trend's going to continue. But as far as favorites go for the weekend, Kevin, you already gave us yours with Denny Hamlin, and I love it for many reasons. But I am going to pick somebody different, but comes from the same garage as Denny Hamlin. And I'm going with last year's runner-up finisher in this race, Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe right now is a man possessed. Since Pocono Raceway, and really maybe even a little bit before that, you started to see a spark and a click in this 19 team. And honestly, I don't know which Joe Gibbs racing car is going to show up to the track and win the race in the playoffs every weekend, but it could be any one of those three. And but I'm taking the 19 team. Right now, Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole is on fire, but this 19 team has just got something special going on. I feel like this is going to be another great race for that 19 bunch, and potentially could be getting his third win of the season this weekend, and hoisting up a giant lobster, and just a storybook first year at a new team. And a lot of people may ask, well, can a driver really go to a new team the first year and win a championship? And I'm going to answer that question right now. The answer is yes. It's been done. It's been done relatively recent with Kyle Larson. Yep. So, it can be done, and it takes a little bit of time. Larson got that win in Vegas early in the season, but it took a little bit more time. But then Larson started to rattle them off, boom, 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 and just, it can be done, folks. So,
it definitely didn't hurt having Hendrick equipment under his butt.
Well, sure. But Chase Briscoe was asked the question a few weeks ago, one of the differences between the cars he was driving and the cars he's driving now. And he goes, they grip better, they turn better, and they're faster. Go figure. That was his response. So, the equipment, and obviously understanding how the Toyota versus the Ford works too. They do handle different, and it's been fun to watch, and I'm here for it. Don, you got to give us your favorite though.
All right, I'm going to go with the low-hanging fruit, because you know what? There's no reason to bet against this aspect, and you know what? Low-hanging fruit. This fruit's already on the shelf at the store, ready to be sold. It's going to be the 20 car of Christopher Bell. JGR is giving us no reason to pick against them, guys. I don't know what else to tell y'all. Until they start struggling, I'm just going to keep picking them because they're getting it done. Christopher Bell finally rights the ship, right? Gets those 3 early wins, gets his all-star win, shows a lot of frustration last week before Bristol. A lot of frustration. Wrap around 1 week later, he finds himself in victory lane, gets himself into the round of 8, and it would not surprise me at all to see him up in the Northeast raising a lobster and another trophy this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you put that fresh low-hanging fruit on the shelf. We go from Spicy Bell to the low-hanging fruit at Reese's, one of his sponsors, right? Hey, there you go. I plugged it for you there, Mr. C. Bell. But it's Don, that pick is incredible, and that is a low-hanging fruit, but it's also a smart fruit because this guy's lights out here. And what he has done in the Xfinity series here, the record he has going. Yep. Now Xfinity's off this weekend, so he's not running the Xfinity race, but he's got a win streak going there too. It's absurd the amount of wins that this man has at New Hampshire. You might call this his favorite track, and that's for good reason. Wow. He knows how to get it done here. Something about this place is really special to that driver, and it's gonna be surprising if he doesn't win, in my
Right.
opinion. But again, we all gave logical reasons why the people we picked could very well win. And yeah, a Joe Gibbs racing car doesn't win this weekend, I'd be shocked. And obviously, we all feel like one of them's going. So we'll see who has the short straw and who has the long straw when this is all said and done. But it's going to be really fun to watch.
Absolutely. Guys, another wonderful episode to all of our fans and followers. Thank you so much for being here with us. We always appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Don't forget to go check out Kevin's diecast community, KK's diecast community on Facebook. Ton of great things going on over there. Kevin, as always, thank you for coming on and sharing your experience from the race weekend. We love having you. Can't wait to have you again. And everybody else, thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all take care.